You found your way to Whispers of Crimes, a quiet corner where the shadows of the past are gently told. Here, we speak of real crimes and mysteries, not to shock or scare, but to wonder, to reflect, and maybe to help you fall asleep. So close your eyes, let your thoughts slow down, and come with me into tonight's case. She vanished without a trace, no goodbyes, no clues. Just silence, and then the texts began. Hundreds of them, angry, obsessive, watching his every move. For years, she stalked him from the shadows online, in person, or so he thought. But the truth was even more disturbing, because the woman sending those messages had been dead all along. Chapter 1, The Mechanic and the New Beginning. In 2012, Dave Kroupa was just a regular guy trying to get his life back on track. A mechanic from Council Bluffs, Iowa, he had just come out of a long-term relationship. With 2 kids and a full-time job, he wasn't looking for anything serious. What he wanted was simplicity, a chance to start fresh. And that's what he thought he'd found when he moved to Omaha, Nebraska. Dave's foray into online dating was casual at first. He created a profile on Plenty of Fish, one of the more popular platforms at the time, and figured he'd see what was out there. His criteria were clear. He wasn't ready for commitment, just companionship and someone who could respect his boundaries. Enter Liz Golyar. Smart, attractive, and seemingly on the same page, Liz was one of the first people Dave connected with. They met up, clicked quickly, and before long, were seeing each other regularly. But Dave was careful to reiterate this wasn't a love story. Not yet. Not for him. Liz agreed, or so it seemed. What Dave didn't know, what he couldn't possibly have imagined, was that opening his dating app would set off a chain of events that would span 4 years, involve over 75,000 messages, and lead to murder. Chapter 2, Cari Farver, the woman who disappeared a few weeks after meeting Liz. Dave met another woman, Cari Farver. Cari was different. She was sharp, confident, and practical. A 37-year-old single mother and a computer programmer. She lived in Iowa and was in Omaha for work when they matched. Like Dave, Cari made it clear from the beginning she wasn't interested in anything serious. For Dave, this was perfect. They had chemistry, they laughed, they talked easily. He invited her to stay over at his place, and for a little while, it seemed like everything was falling into place. But just days after they started spending time together, things took a strange turn. Cari left Dave's apartment one morning and was never seen again. She vanished. At first, Dave wasn't alarmed. They weren't exclusive after all, but then the messages began. Dozens of them, then hundreds. Texts from Cari's number flooded his phone accusatory, aggressive, and disturbing. They called him a cheater, a liar. Some were threatening. Others were pleading. Soon, Dave's ex-girlfriend Liz also began receiving angry messages from Cari. Cari accused Liz of stealing Dave, of ruining her life. And then it got worse. Dave's friends, co-workers, even his children's mother started receiving threatening messages, all supposedly from Cari Farver. Dave was being stalked, and he was sure of one thing. It wasn't really Cari, but the police weren't convinced. As long as messages were coming from her phone and her social media profiles were active, they had no reason to believe she wasn't alive, just unstable. The truth, however, was far darker than anyone realized. Chapter 3, A Digital Nightmare. What followed was a psychological siege unlike anything Dave Kroupa had ever experienced. He changed his phone number. The messages continued. He deleted email accounts. More were created. He moved homes. The stalker found him again. In one especially chilling moment, He walked outside to find his car vandalized, keyed, and spray painted with the words whore and liar. Another time, he received a photo of his apartment from the outside, taken just moments before. Whoever was doing this was close, watching him, maybe even following him. And it didn't stop with him. Liz claimed she was being harassed too. She received terrifying threats. Her house caught fire twice. Her pets were targeted. She told police that Cari Farver was trying to destroy her life. But if this truly was Cari, how was she staying hidden for so long? Her own mother, Nancy Rainey, hadn't seen her. Cari's young son hadn't heard from her in person. She didn't show up to her job. She missed birthdays, holidays. Yet messages kept coming, angry, erratic, obsessive. The text said she had moved away, that she was dealing with mental health issues, that she was watching Dave. To the police, it was a case of a woman scorned, a tragic story, but not a criminal one. As long as the digital trail existed, they believed Cari was out there somewhere. But Nancy Rainey never believed it. Her daughter would never abandon her son. She kept pushing for answers. She filed missing persons reports. She pleaded with investigators. And finally, 3 years after Cari vanished, someone listened. Chapter 4. Unmasking the Imposter in 2015, Detectives Jim Doty and Ryan Avis took over the case. They didn't just accept the surface-level evidence, they started peeling it back. They subpoenaed IP records. They traced email accounts. They examined the timestamps and metadata and the messages sent from Cari Farver. And a new picture emerged. Most of the messages were coming from Liz Golyar's home, from her work, from her devices. Suddenly, everything made sense. Liz hadn't been a fellow victim. She had been orchestrating the entire thing. She had created dozens of fake email accounts, sent messages from phones she bought under fake names. She impersonated Cari for years, keeping the illusion alive so effectively that police, Dave, and even Cari's family were fooled. In her obsession with Dave, Liz had gone to unimaginable lengths to eliminate her rival and take over her identity. But there was one more horrifying truth. Cari wasn't just missing, she was dead. Chapter 5. The Smoking Den. As the investigation deepened, detectives unearthed a disturbing digital archive. Liz had saved photos to her phone. Photos she claimed were sent by Cari, but when police examined the files, they found embedded data that proved the photos had been taken by Liz herself. One particularly chilling image showed a decomposing human foot. Another email from Cari's account described a gruesome stabbing in graphic detail. Then came the final piece of the puzzle. Liz, in a careless moment, told police about a spot where she claimed Cari had once left things. Investigators searched the area and discovered burned human remains. Though most of the remains were too damaged to fully identify, one item stood out. A single fingerprint matched to Cari Farver. Liz was arrested in December 2016. During her trial, prosecutors presented a mountain of digital evidence. There was no direct witness to the murder, no weapon, no confession. But the sheer weight of the digital forensics told the story loud and clear. Liz Golyar had murdered Cari Farver in a jealous rage and then assumed her identity to cover her tracks. In 2017, she was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. Chapter 6. Lover, Stalker, Killer. The Netflix Lens, Netflix's Lover, Stalker, Killer, released in 2024, brought this chilling case to a global audience. Through interviews with detectives, journalists, and Dave Kroupa himself, the documentary walks viewers through the unbelievable sequence of events, how a simple online date spiraled into a deadly obsession. The story is gripping not just because of the murder, but because of how digital identity was weaponized in ways few people had ever imagined. Cari's presence online continued long after her death. Her killer used her name, her photos, her tone, and even pretended to be her on social media. It's the kind of nightmare that only makes sense in the internet age. In a world where we live and breathe through screens, it's disturbingly easy to become someone else, to erase someone's existence and replace it with your version of them. Lover, stalker, killer forces us to reckon with how vulnerable we really are online and how obsession, in the wrong hands, becomes lethal. Chapter 7. Reflections from the Edge. Today, Dave Kroupa is still trying to put the pieces back together. He's spoken publicly about the trauma he endured, the gaslighting, the fear, the constant uncertainty. For years, he lived under siege, stalked by a ghost that wasn't real. Cari Farver, meanwhile, has become the haunting heart of this story. A woman erased, her memory twisted by someone who wanted her gone. Her family continues to honor her life, fighting to keep the focus on who she was, not just how she died. And Liz Golyar, she sits behind bars, a reminder of just how far obsession can go when left unchecked. This case isn't just about a love triangle or a stalker. It's a cautionary tale about trust, about the illusion of digital identity, and about how easily lives can be destroyed by someone with the motive, the tools, and no conscience. So the next time you swipe right, send a DM, or fall for someone new online, remember Dave Kroupa's story. Because not every match ends in romance. Some end in murder. That's all for tonight's story. Another thread in the web of true crime, quietly unraveling as the night goes on. If you're still with me, thanks for listening. And if sleep has already taken you, may your dreams be peaceful and your mind at ease. I'll be here next time by the fire with another story waiting to be told. Good night, and don't forget to lock your doors.